Peugeot 103 Carbolite.
Well, here we have a Peugeot course 12-speed bike, a Carbolite frame from the 1980s, which I picked up recently, in very good condition for its age. I have worked on it a bit, but as you can see, frame, this white pearlescent frame, which is used, the same paint used for like higher end models like the Vitus and the Triathlon, is in really nice shape. The fork going down the seat tube and the down tube, and even the chainstays are in good condition, and that's the reason why most of all I bought it, because I thought the frame looked like it's been hardly ridden, and I do like it. Not as light as the Vitus frames or a Reynolds frame, but still I think it weighs about 25 pounds. And I also like the simplex derailleurs. I've always liked these. This is 12 speed. I've always liked that derailleur. The front one, and the shifters are not plastic, they're metal. I think this is a strong light 80 crank, though I could be wrong. I do think it's 80, but and it's just got your basic Wyman brakes. Interesting seat lug there. Not the prettiest, but and I like it. It's a good bike. I don't think the rear wheel is original. It's a Mavic, but the front one is a Regida one, and I think that's the original wheel. So rear wheel maybe swapped out at some point. What I don't like about the bike, I mean, I even like these mud guards, or fenders as they call them in America. What I really don't like about the bike are these suicide levers, as they call them. Like levers that stated about you as a bike rider that you couldn't be trusted to have a professional style of braking system, and you needed the extra lever. And not only does it look shabby and a bit sad, it's also, you know, extra weight. It was never a feature on top end bikes, and I never liked them when I was young, and I still don't like them. There's the one on the floor, and especially that it's without hood. It just makes the bike look, I don't know. I swapped the saddle out to a San Marco Rolls, which is a pretty decent saddle, and I think it's age appropriate. So all I need is handlebar tape and to put on the new brake levers, which I just recently bought. It's not Wyman, doesn't match the calipers, I think, which are 500s, but same era brake levers. Let's see what it looks like. So here is the original handlebar tape, which is on the bike when it was sold in the shop, and as you can see, it's gone very, very yellow and fragile, and it doesn't look good anymore on the bike. So that is going to be replaced, and the replacement for the brake levers are these CLB black ones. I probably would have preferred brown ones, Wyman ones to match, but these are a good price and they do a good job, I think, just as good as the Wyman ones. I take back what I said about the CLB brake levers. I mean, look at that nut there to tighten. Look how shallow it is, and it looks like it's a screwdriver because it has those two sides on it, but it also looks a bit like an Allen key. So I've been trying different tools to work out which one it is. So it was guess the tool time. Flathead screwdriver worked a bit. The Phillips one didn't do well. The Allen key did a little, but this was the best, so it was the Torx 25, which is a bit strange. So I bought a pair of CLB brake levers with the original hoods, same type of era as the Weinmans, and they're in pretty good shape. They could last another 10-20 years if they're taken care of, I imagine. Problem is, when I realised when I bought them there's something missing, and it was the barrel adjusters, or the stop, and actually that's a bigger problem than you think, because what happened was, alright, you put your cable in, that's all very well, but it's just going to get pulled through when you press the lever. This thing is not going to stay where it is, it's going to get pulled through, and that's what happened. So I tried using one of these with the stop at the end, a metal one, but that didn't work either. Actually, one of these went right through to the bottom here, and I did that twice. So pulling on this brake lever was just bringing this cable right down here, and the whole thing was a disaster. So I realized I had to go back and find the correct stop or barrel adjuster for these brakes. Now this cost me €10, these. That's enough in my view, but now I've had to go back and spend another 8 on these CLB barrel adjusters. So I've just bought these supposedly original CLB barrel adjusters, 5mm, but they're screwed, and I don't think this one is a screw in hood. So as you can see, it doesn't screw in, but if I move that washer down to there, that should stop this being pulled through, and then I can put the cable in there and that should work. So I'm sure that the original barrel adjusters were not screw-in type, they were just plain 5mm where they just sat down in there. But this is the best I can do for the price. I'm not paying €15 for complete original ones. We'll see how it goes. So when I bought this bike, it just had one replacement part I needed, were the brake levers, but that's not how it turned out, and that's very common when you buy these vintage bikes and you want to restore them. Because what happened, I was adjusting this simplex front derailleur because it was sitting a bit high up and wasn't quite straight with the crank. So I adjusted it, I loosened it, and I moved it slightly, just about 1mm, like towards me. And when I did that, it made a big snapping sound. And let me show you what happened. It snapped. How many of these have snapped on me over the years? And you can see there's no way back for it. So it was obviously held in place and must have had a crack or a very weak part of plastic here, and just moving it slightly, that was my mistake. I moved the derailleur, and as soon as I moved it, it just broke. So now I have to find a simplex front derailleur that matches that, which is a pain. I'm probably going to cost another €10. So 10 plus 5 for the barrel adjusters, or 8 it was, plus another 10 for this derailleur, I imagine. So it's adding up. Hopefully I can get that sold. So I decided that I'm going to try and fix this simplex front derailleur. There's the broken part going on here. I'm going to try and glue it and see if I can get this thing to stay in place. I know that it comes under a lot of pressure when you use it from the cable, but I thought it's worth a try. So it's like that. Whether or not it's strong enough to hold the derailleur in place, we'll just have to see, but I'm going to put it on the bike and see if this glue job I've done actually works. Well, it's disappointing because it won't even go on, let alone function with the cable connected. You see, when I try and tighten it around the tube, the screw actually just pulls it apart again, so it's not going to work. Well, there's proof anyway. Once these things break, once the plastic goes, that's it. There's no way back for them, so it has to have a new derailleur. So here's the grip tape I'm going to put on the bike. It's this Velox felt tape, typical from bikes in the 1970s and that era. And I decided to go with the orange colour because white will just get dirty on this frame. And also orange is the colour of the decals. It's a bit out there, but I thought it would be something different, so I'm going to see what it looks like. So here are the new brake levers fitted with these unoriginal but useful barrel adjusters. Orange handlebar tape, Velcro type, the felt type, which I think looks pretty good. Better saddle, cleaned up. I haven't polished it. I would normally polish this and the seat post, but this time I'm not doing that. I think it looks pretty good as it is, and I just have to ride it and see what it's like on the road. But I'm pretty pleased with the way it's turned out. It looks much better. Just looks a nicer looking bike now. I've made those changes, I think. Should be good on the road, I hope. Wow. Yeah, it's good. I like it. It's actually pretty light on the road. Feels pretty manageable. I was riding a Trek, a much more modern Trek last year. Doesn't feel that much more different to that bike. One main difference is the brakes. I think the brakes are definitely not as effective, and this rear one is a bit stiff. You have to be pretty careful on these roads in this wet condition, but generally I think it rides really well. Gears are good, feels pretty responsive. I like it. I can't decide what's right.